What's up, my internet friends, nerds, losers, investors, and all people alike? It looks like the market just hit a reset button today. After 2 days of record highs, Wall Street decided to take a breather, and by breather, we mean the Dow tumbled by 450 points, the S&P 500 dipped 0.5%, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ slipped. So what's the culprit of all this exactly? Well, we've got a 1-2 punch. Walmart's cautious guidance knocked the wind out of retail stocks, and traders are still trying to digest Trump's new tariffs policy shift like a bad buffet, like Golden Corral. Think about it like that. Now, Walmart's reality check. You'd think Walmart would be riding high after beating earnings, right? Right? That's usually what happens. Oh, no, my friends. Guidance, by the way, kills like 90% of earnings beats. Let's just be honest here. The retail giant issued some meh guidance for 2026, sending the stock down 6.5% for its worst day in over 1 year. It also took the Dow with it, dragging down big banks like Goldman Sachs, which lost 4%, and JP Morgan, which also lost 4% for its abysmal ride. Now we have Trump's tariffs and throwing tantrums. General Motors is reportedly restructuring operations as new tariffs loom. Meanwhile, Palantir got smacked in the face and fell 5% after news of an 8% Pentagon budget cut, because apparently government spending cuts are not bullish for defense stocks. I mean, who would have thunk? And when we're talking about tariffs, the man with the world's most unpredictable Twitter feed has thrown corporate America into disarray. So, meanwhile, gold is having the time of its life in the sun, hanging out on the beach, drinking Mai Tais. Investors, spooked by all this uncertainty, are rushing to safe havens like gold because it's the only thing that hasn't really changed since the last Great Recession. And let's be honest, who can really blame them? Now, risk off mode is activated. Geopolitical tensions are in, check. Inflation concerns, you bet. The result, like we said, gold hit a record high. So those are all the things that are going to contribute to gold essentially becoming a safe haven. Now, CEO confidence, that is pretty much non-existent. I think Manti Te'o's girlfriend's a little more existent than CEO confidence nowadays. A new survey showed that US CEOs are feeling better about the economy than they have in 3 years, which in corporate speak probably means they're at least pretending to care about the little guy. They're now shifting from cautious optimism to confident optimism, which sounds like something you'd say after 2 cups of coffee and a particular motivational LinkedIn post. We've all seen those before, and please stop doing that because no one's reading it, let alone taking it serious. Is this the rebound we've been waiting for? Well, maybe, but let's remember, optimism is often the first casualty when things start to get dicey, and things could start to get dicey. So keep your eyes peeled out for that as well. Now, some of our winners and losers for the day. Energy stocks, they're surging because natural gas prices refuse to chill out, keeping energy plays like XLE, which is up 7% year to date. Alibaba is up 9%. China's e-commerce giant is flexing its AI muscle, and traders are absolutely loving it and eating it up. Now, our biggest losers of the day, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they all fell about 4%. Financial stocks took a hit as interest rate fears creep back into play. Intel Corp, CrowdStrike, and Palantir were also down 3%. All former 2025 darlings that are getting dunked on like LeBron James dunked on Mark Williams today. Now, we will be back with our new segment of Investor Central Club and going over what happened in the options market. So I will see you guys in a jiff. Now, welcome to our new segment presented by Investor Central Club. So if you want to make those stacks, you better get yourself Stacks AI today, because it is one of the easiest flow charting tools, and it's the one that I use to give you guys all the insights and data on large orders. So let's go over some of the big action today. One thing that stands out was SPY was dominating the flow today. But there's some interesting action in tech, China stocks, and even massive bets against INTU. Let's unpack what's happening here. So SPY is the battlefield. With over 64.62 million in flow, there's nearly an even split between calls and puts. 64.6 or 30.22 million in calls against 34.4 million in puts. Now, if we go ahead and look at one of the most common contracts that was bought, was the 595 put for a 417 expiration date. We also saw some action for $600 and $605 put sweeps, bearish bets, along with some call actions at $645 and $655 for August. The market is hedging heavily, suggesting uncertainty about the next big move. Now, we also had INTU puts completely dominating today as well. We saw a big unusual order with these. We saw 12,000 contracts bought for the 490 strike expiring on January 16th of 2026, and that cost them a beautiful 33.12 million in premiums. Now, someone is making a long-term bearish bet on the tax and accounting software giant. Either way, they know something or expect a serious downturn in financial software coming in the future. Some other interesting things that we saw were China tech sneaks in. There are notable bullish bets on KWEB calls that we saw coming in. March $37 strike. That's a move suggesting optimism around Chinese tech stocks, especially with how Alibaba performed from earnings today. Likely banking on government support or an easing in US-China tensions in the future. Now, big tech and semis are also in play. NVDA was one of another big player. We saw 22.62 million in overall flow with them, with 9 million coming in calls against 13 million in puts. This is meaning traders are playing both sides of volatility, most likely some hedges. Now, we also had Microsoft, which saw some put action at the 415 level for March. This could be profit taking or hedging against a broader pullback in the market. Now, let's talk about some of our dark pool insights here. In the dark pool, if you're new here, basically dark pool trades are massive off-exchange transactions made by institutional investors who don't want to tip their hand before making their next big move. And today, the whales were whaling. I'll tell you that much, brother. The whales were whaling. And some interesting prints that came in today. So if we look, we can see SPY traded over 1.1 billion in dark pools today. We saw multiple block trades at the $610 levels, including the 427. Wait, let me update this real quick for y'all. There we go. So this is $610 level, including $427 million, $183 million, and $168 million transactions. This means institutions are actively positioning around this price level. Are they buying the dip or unloading before a downturn? And on the tech move sides of things, we saw Microsoft with a $299 million block trade. We saw Meta with a $156 million trade, and we saw NVIDIA with a $181 million trade. This suggests institutions' rotations within big tech, possibly reallocating funds ahead of upcoming catalysts that could create a downturn in this market. And QQQ got hit with $240 million trade at $537, showing some major reallocation into tech-heavy indexes. Now, when we're looking at the flow scanner, again, we already went over what our big winners were. And what is this going to mean for the market? SPY's high put volume suggests uncertainty. This could be hedging or institutions bracing for a pullback. Keep an eye on the $600 to $610 zone for potential breakouts or rejections. We also had Intuit's massive put bet signals a major red flag. Could be insider knowledge, upcoming earnings risks, or broader fintech concerns for the future. And China tech bets, KWEB and BABA, suggest bullish sentiment on recovery days, and there is some confidence coming from the Chinese tech sector. Tech giants like Microsoft, Meta, and NVDA are also seeing massive dark pool buys, which might mean institutions are quietly accumulating before the next big move. And my final thoughts to leave you all with are, if you're bullish, you want to see SPY hold 610 to 615 and confirm upside momentum. If you're bearish, watch for the increased put flow on QQQ and key levels breaking down. If you're looking for opportunities, follow the smart money. China Tech, Microsoft, and NVIDIA all saw interesting moves today. So maybe keep your eyes peeled for sympathy plays or for those stocks in general. That's your deep dive in today's options flow, and also just your overall market flow. If you felt that this video was helpful or you enjoyed my horrible jokes, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a thumbs up so you never miss another Trades and Gains market recap. Because if you just watch this video every day, you don't even have to read anything. You can just watch me entertain you for 12 minutes and move about your day and know exactly what happened. And maybe it gives you some ideas of what you're going to look at tomorrow. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Love you all. Thank you for subscribing and have a great night.